Texas, a place the world thinks it already knows. Yet almost nothing about it is as expected. Its name conjures cattle and oil, not canyons carved by 240 million years of water. Or reefs that fossilized before the first dinosaur ever walked. But behind the myth lies a land so vast that the sun rises on one edge nearly an hour before it reaches the other. Stretching across 695,000 square kilometers, this single state is larger than France, larger than Spain. If it stood alone, its economy would rank among the 10 largest on Earth. For nearly a decade, it did stand alone, with its own president, its own army, its own navy, and its own flag. Yet the scale tells only part of the story. Beyond it, 4 separate worlds collide within a single border. Pine forests, thick as any in the deep south, give way to plains where the horizon simply refuses to end. Limestone hills open into flooded caves and crystal springs that surface in the middle of desert. And in the far west, mountains rise from sand like islands in a sea that dried up 270 million years ago. Believe it or not, the Earth here splits open without warning. Palo Duro cuts 250 meters into flat grassland. Its walls banded in red, orange, and white. Beneath the hill country, water gathers in submerged tunnels so deep and so narrow that divers have entered and never returned. And along the far southern coast, the most endangered sea turtle on Earth returns to the same sand it hatched on, guided by instincts we still cannot explain. Hidden among these landscapes, life persists in strange forms. Mountain lions move unseen through desert canyons. 1.5 million bats pour from beneath a downtown bridge each evening in a black ribbon that darkens the sky. And a small horned lizard, cornered by a predator, defends itself by firing its own blood from its eyes. For 4 centuries, this land has been fought over, claimed, abandoned, and rebuilt. Spanish missionaries carried faith across it. Cowboys drove Longhorns north along it. Oil erupted from beneath it and rewrote the modern world. And each left something behind without ever fully claiming the land itself. This is Texas, not a state, not a country, something in between. Where the ghosts of the Alamo still echo and where rockets built to carry humanity to Mars now stand waiting on the shore. Forget everything you thought you knew. Grab your coffee, grab your popcorn, get comfortable, and let Texas show you what it really is. Before we begin our journey, let us understand the sheer scale of this land. Texas stretches roughly 1,250 kilometers from north to south and very nearly the same distance from east to west. It is so large that El Paso, in the far west, is closer to the Pacific Ocean than it is to Houston on the state's eastern side. The state shares a 3,100-kilometer border with Mexico, traced almost entirely by the winding path of the Rio Grande. Texas is built from 4 great natural regions. In the east lie the Gulf coastal plains, a humid world of pine forests, swamps, and beaches. To the north and west rise the Great Plains, vast and flat where the wind never stops. In the center stand the interior lowlands and the famous hill country. A land of rivers, caves, and rolling green hills. And in the far west lie the Basin and Range Mountains, where desert peaks pierce the sky. Through this immense and varied landflow, great rivers, the Rio Grande, the Colorado, the Brazos, the Pecos, and across it roam some of the most iconic wildlife in North America. Every location we explore in this documentary will be marked on our map, allowing you to follow our path across an empire that calls itself a state. We begin not with a landscape, but with a building, perhaps the most famous building in all of Texas. The Alamo began its life as a Spanish mission, founded in 1718 to convert and educate the indigenous peoples of the region. But it would earn its place in history not through faith, but through blood. In 1836, as Texas fought for its independence from Mexico, fewer than 200 Texan defenders barricaded themselves inside these old stone walls. For 13 days, they held out against the army of Mexican General Santa Anna, a force numbering in the thousands. On the final morning, the defenders were overwhelmed, and nearly all of them, including the legendary Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie, were killed. Yet their sacrifice became a rallying cry that ignited a revolution. "Remember the Alamo" echoed across the battlefields that followed, and weeks later, Texas won its independence. Today, the Alamo stands in the heart of modern San Antonio, a quiet stone sanctuary surrounded by a bustling city. More than 1.6 million people visit each year, walking the same ground where men chose to die for an idea. It is the soul of Texas, the place where the myth of the state was forged in fire and sacrifice. Just steps from the Alamo flows one of the most beloved urban spaces in all of America. The San Antonio Riverwalk is a network of stone pathways that wind along the banks of the river, one level below the busy streets of the city above. lined with cypress trees, lush gardens, cafes, and arched stone bridges. It feels like a hidden world, a peaceful green ribbon threading through the heart of a major city. But the Riverwalk was born from disaster. In 1921, a catastrophic flood tore through downtown San Antonio, killing dozens and devastating the city. In the aftermath, engineers proposed paving the river over entirely. Instead, a young architect named Robert Hugman imagined something far more beautiful. A flood-control channel that would also become a living, walkable park. His vision, completed over decades, transformed the river into the jewel of the city. Today, colorful barges glide along the water, carrying visitors past restaurants and music, and the banks come alive with festivals and lights, especially during the holidays. It stands as proof that even tragedy can be transformed into beauty, and that a city can choose to embrace its river rather than bury it. In the remote southwestern corner of Texas, where the Rio Grande carves a great sweeping curve along the Mexican border, lies one of the wildest and least visited national parks in America. Big Bend National Park covers more than 3,200 square kilometers of breathtaking and brutal landscape. A place where three worlds collide: river, desert, and mountain. Here, the Chihuahuan Desert stretches in every direction, broken by the dramatic peaks of the Chisos Mountains, the only mountain range in America entirely contained within a single national park. The Rio Grande has carved canyons with walls rising more than 450 meters straight up from the water's edge. The wildlife here is extraordinary and rugged. Mountain lions and black bears roam the high country. Roadrunners dart across the desert floor. And the javelina, a wild pig-like creature, snuffles through the brush. Big Bend is also one of the premier stargazing destinations on the continent. It holds some of the darkest measured skies in the lower 48 states. So dark and clear that the Milky Way casts shadows on the ground. And more than 2,000 stars can be seen with the naked eye on a moonless night. It is Texas at its most remote, raw, and humbling. A place where you can drive for an hour and not see another soul. Rising abruptly from the West Texas desert stand the highest peaks in the entire state. Guadalupe Mountains National Park is crowned by Guadalupe Peak, soaring 2,667 meters into the sky. The rooftop of Texas. But the true wonder of these mountains lies in their ancient origin. Around 270 million years ago, this entire region lay beneath a vast tropical sea. Over millions of years, marine organisms built an enormous reef along the edge of that ancient ocean. When the sea eventually evaporated and the land was uplifted, that fossilized reef was exposed. And today, the Guadalupe Mountains are one of the finest examples of a preserved fossil reef found anywhere on Earth. Hikers climbing these slopes are walking through the bones of a sea that vanished before the dinosaurs ever existed. The park is also a place of stunning seasonal surprise. In a hidden canyon called McKittrick, a spring-fed stream nourishes maple, oak, and walnut trees, which explode into brilliant reds and golds each autumn. A startling burst of full color in the middle of the desert. Mule deer, elk, and golden eagles make their home here in a rugged wilderness that few travelers ever reach. In the flat, windswept plains of the Texas Panhandle, the Earth suddenly splits open into a chasm of breathtaking color. Palo Duro Canyon is the second largest canyon in the United States, stretching 190 kilometers long, up to 32 kilometers wide, and plunging 250 meters deep. Carved over millions of years by the prairie dog-town fork of the Red River, its walls reveal layers of rock in vivid bands of red, orange, yellow, and white. A geological rainbow recording 240 million years of history. The canyon has been home to humans for nearly 12,000 years, and it was the final stronghold of the Comanche, Kiowa, and Apache peoples on the southern plains. In 1874, a pivotal battle here effectively ended the free life of these tribes on the open range. Today, the canyon is a place of stark and dramatic beauty. The iconic Lighthouse Rock, a towering pillar of stone, rises from the canyon floor like a natural monument. Aoudad sheep navigate the steep cliffs, roadrunners and wild turkeys roam the brush, and the canyon's vivid walls glow like fire at sunset. It is a hidden wonder, a Grand Canyon in miniature, tucked into the most unexpected corner of the Texas plains. In the city of Houston stands a place that connects Texas not just to the rest of the world, but to the cosmos itself. Space Center Houston is the official visitor center of NASA's Johnson Space Center, the legendary home of Mission Control. It was from this very place that the first words spoken from the surface of the moon were received. When Neil Armstrong radioed back to Earth in 1969, the first word he spoke was Houston. For more than 60 years, this center has been the nerve center of American human spaceflight. It is here that astronauts have trained for every major mission, from the Apollo moon landings to the International Space Station. Visitors can stand beneath a towering, fully restored Saturn V rocket. the most powerful machine ever built, lying on its side and stretching longer than a football field. They can touch a genuine piece of moon rock, brought back across 384,000 kilometers of space, and walk through the historic mission control room, preserved exactly as it appeared during the Apollo era. As Texas looks to the future, this place remains the beating heart of humanity's greatest adventure. The journey beyond our own planet, planned and guided from the heart of the Lone Star State. In the heart of Texas, between the great cities of San Antonio and Austin, the flat plains give way to a landscape of rolling green hills, clear flowing rivers, and limestone bluffs. This is the Texas Hill Country, widely considered the most beautiful region in the entire state. The land here is shaped by the Balcones Escarpment, a geological fault line, where the eastern lowlands meet the western plateau, creating dramatic hills, spring-fed rivers, and hidden caves. But the hill country is most famous for one thing above all: its wildflowers. Each spring, the hills and roadsides explode into a sea of color as millions of bluebonnets, the state flower of Texas, blanket the land in waves of deep blue and violet, mixed with the fiery orange of Indian paintbrush. The region is also the heart of Texas wine country and German heritage, settled in the 1800s by immigrants whose towns still carry European names and traditions. Clear rivers like the Guadalupe and the Frio draw thousands who float lazily down their cool waters in the summer heat. With its caves, its rivers, its vineyards, and its spectacular spring blooms, the hill country is the gentle green soul of Texas. On the banks of the Colorado River, where the hill country meets the plains, sits the capital of Texas and one of the most distinctive cities in America. Austin is a city that proudly declares itself weird, a vibrant hub of music, technology, and culture that feels entirely unlike anywhere else in the state. It is the self-proclaimed live music capital of the world, home to hundreds of music venues, and the birthplace of legendary festivals that draw millions. But Austin holds a wilder secret as well. Beneath the Congress Avenue Bridge, in the very center of downtown, lives the largest urban bat colony on the planet. Each summer evening, as the sun sets, an astonishing 1.5 million Mexican free-tailed bats pour out from under the bridge in a swirling black ribbon that streaks across the sky. Crowds gather every night to witness the spectacle as the bats fan out across the city to feast on thousands of kilograms of insects. The towering pink granite dome of the Texas state capitol rises above the city. Taller by design than the United States Capitol in Washington. Austin is where Texas tradition collides with the cutting edge of the future. A city of music, nature, and reinvention. In the rolling prairies of North Texas rises a gleaming city of glass and steel that became a global symbol of ambition and wealth. Dallas was founded in 1841 as a humble trading post, but it grew with astonishing speed. Fueled first by cotton, then by railroads, and finally by oil. Today, it anchors one of the largest metropolitan areas in the entire United States. Yet Dallas is forever marked by one of the most tragic moments in American history. It was here, in Dealey Plaza, on November 22, 1963, that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated as his motorcade passed through the city. The sixth floor museum, located in the very building from which the fatal shots were fired, now preserves that history, drawing visitors from around the world to reflect on a day that changed the nation forever. Beyond its history, Dallas is a city of striking modern architecture, world-class art museums, and a fierce passion for sports. None greater than its devotion to the Dallas Cowboys, the football team known across the country as America's team. Dallas is the polished, cosmopolitan face of Texas. A city that has continually reinvented itself from a frontier outpost into a global metropolis. Just west of the panhandle city of Amarillo, along the historic Route 66, stands one of the strangest and most beloved pieces of art in America. Cadillac Ranch is a row of 10 vintage Cadillac automobiles buried nose first into the dirt of an open field, their tail fins jutting toward the sky at the exact same angle. The installation was created in 1974 by a group of eccentric artists funded by a wealthy and unconventional local millionaire. As a tribute to the golden age of the American automobile. The 10 cars represent the evolution of the Cadillac tail fin from 1949 to 1963. But what makes Cadillac Ranch truly unique is that it is a living, ever-changing artwork. Visitors are not just allowed, but encouraged to spray paint the cars. And so, they are coated in dozens of layers of colorful graffiti that shift and transform every single day. A message painted in the morning may be gone by afternoon, covered by someone else's. The cars have been stripped to bare metal by souvenir hunters and rebuilt over the years. Standing alone in a vast, empty field beneath the enormous Texas sky, Cadillac Ranch is a monument to American freedom, creativity, and the open road. Beneath the rolling hills near San Antonio lies a hidden world of breathtaking beauty. Natural Bridge Caverns is the largest known commercial cave system in the entire state of Texas. A vast underground realm that was only discovered in 1960 by 4 college students exploring a sinkhole. What they found astonished them. Chamber after chamber of spectacular formations descending more than 55 meters below the surface. The caverns take their name from a massive 18-meter limestone bridge that spans the entrance. Inside, the air is cool and still, and the walls are decorated with countless formations built drop by drop over hundreds of thousands of years. Towering stalagmites rise from the floor, delicate stalactites hang from the ceiling like stone icicles, and flowing curtains of mineral deposits glisten in the light. Some of these formations are still actively growing, fed by water that continues to seep through the rock above. The caverns maintain a constant temperature year-round, a welcome refuge from the brutal Texas summer heat. It is a reminder that some of the most stunning landscapes in Texas are found not above the ground, but hidden silently beneath it. Stretching along the Gulf of Mexico lies the longest stretch of undeveloped barrier island in the entire world. Padre Island National Seashore protects 113 kilometers of pristine coastline. Windswept dunes, grassy flats, and endless beaches untouched by hotels or development. This wild ribbon of sand is a sanctuary for some of the most remarkable wildlife in Texas. Most importantly, it is one of the last great strongholds of the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, the most endangered sea turtle on Earth. Each year, these turtles return to these very beaches to lay their eggs. And conservation teams work tirelessly to protect the nests and release the tiny hatchlings into the Gulf. The island is also a paradise for birds. More than 380 species have been recorded here, making it one of the premier bird-watching destinations on the continent. A vital rest stop for millions of migratory birds crossing the Gulf each year. The waters teem with dolphins, and the beaches are scattered with shells and the occasional treasure washed ashore from centuries-old shipwrecks. Padre Island is Texas as nature made it, wild, windswept, and gloriously untamed. A final refuge where the land meets the sea. Along the southeastern edge of the state, where the land finally meets the sea, stretches the great Texas Gulf Coast. This is a world apart from the deserts and plains of the interior. A warm, humid realm of beaches, bays, marshes, and wetlands extending for more than 600 kilometers along the Gulf of Mexico. The coast is a vital artery of the Texas economy, home to some of the busiest ports in America, and a massive network of refineries that process much of the nation's oil. But it is also a place of extraordinary natural richness. The bays and estuaries where freshwater rivers meet the salty Gulf form one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. Nurseries for shrimp, crabs, oysters, and countless fish. The coast is a critical stop on one of the great bird migration routes of the world, where hundreds of millions of birds funnel through each spring and fall. It is here, at the Aransas National Wildlife Refuge, that the magnificent whooping crane, one of the rarest birds on the planet, standing nearly 1.5 meters tall, spends its winters. Brought back from the very brink of extinction, these elegant white giants are a symbol of hope. Along a coast where wildlife and industry exist in delicate balance. Rising from the hill country, like the back of some sleeping stone giant, is one of the most striking natural landmarks in Texas. Enchanted Rock is an enormous pink granite dome, a single massive mountain of solid rock that swells 130 meters above the surrounding landscape and covers more than 2.5 square kilometers. It is one of the largest exposed bodies of granite in the United States. This great dome is the visible tip of a vast underground mass of igneous rock, formed more than 1 billion years ago when molten magma cooled deep beneath the Earth. Over 1 billion years of erosion have slowly stripped away the rock above, revealing the ancient stone we see today. The indigenous peoples who lived here for thousands of years believed the rock was enchanted, and it is easy to understand why. On certain nights, the granite creaks and groans as it cools and contracts after the heat of the day, producing eerie sounds the natives believed were the spirits of the rock. They also reported strange glittering lights, now thought to be caused by moonlight reflecting off rainwater pools and mineral flecks in the stone. Climbing to the summit at sunset, with the entire hill country spread out below, is one of the most magical experiences the state has to offer. In the city of Fort Worth, just west of Dallas, the spirit of the old American West lives on, breathing and bellowing in the present day. The Fort Worth Stockyards is a historic district that was once one of the largest livestock trading centers in the entire country. In the days of the great cattle drives, millions of Longhorn cattle were herded north along the famous Chisco and Chisholm trails. And Fort Worth became the bustling final stop before the railways carried them to market, earning the city its enduring nickname, Cowtown. Today, the stockyards preserve that legacy in spectacular living fashion. Twice every single day, real cowboys on horseback drive a herd of magnificent Texas Longhorn cattle right down the brick streets of the district, the only twice-daily cattle drive in the world. Visitors can witness this living history just feet away. Watching the massive horned beasts amble past historic saloons and trading houses. The district is also home to the world's largest honky-tonk and rodeo arenas, where the traditions of bull riding and roping continue. The Fort Worth Stockyards is where the legend of the Texas cowboy is not just remembered, but kept fully alive. Hidden beneath the dry ranchland of West Texas lies a cave so beautiful that experts have called it one of the most spectacular in the entire world. The caverns of Sonora are renowned not for their size, but for the breathtaking density and delicacy of their crystal formations. Within these chambers grow some of the rarest and most fragile cave formations on Earth. The cave is famous above all for its helictites, bizarre, twisting crystal formations that seem to defy gravity, curling and branching in impossible directions as if they grew with no regard for which way is down. The most famous of all is the butterfly. A delicate, perfectly symmetrical crystal formation shaped like butterfly wings. Considered one of the most beautiful single formations found in any cave anywhere. The walls glitter with calcite crystals that sparkle like diamonds in the light. So fragile and pristine are these formations that the cave is carefully protected. And a famous early explorer once declared its beauty could not be exaggerated. Discovered on a ranch and opened to the public in the 1960s, the caverns of Sonora remain a hidden underground treasure. A glittering jewel box buried beneath the harsh and dusty surface of West Texas. At the very southern tip of the Texas coast lies the state's most famous beach destination. A sun-soaked paradise of sand and surf. South Padre Island is a resort town on a barrier island, beloved for its warm turquoise waters, gentle waves, and miles of soft sandy beaches. But beyond the resorts and the famous spring break crowds, the island holds genuine natural wonders. It is one of the best places in all of Texas to encounter sea turtles up close, home to a renowned sea turtle rescue and rehabilitation center that cares for injured and stranded turtles before returning them to the sea. The waters around the island teem with marine life, and dolphins are a common and delightful sight, often seen leaping alongside boats in the bay. The island has also become an unexpected canvas for art, hosting a remarkable collection of enormous, intricate sandcastles built by professional sand sculptors, some standing meters tall. On the bay side of the island, vast tidal flats draw spectacular numbers of wading birds. South Padre is where Texas comes to play, a tropical escape at the southern edge of the state. where the warm Gulf waters lap against endless golden sand. Forming the entire southern boundary of Texas, winding for more than 3,000 kilometers, flows one of the most storied rivers in North America. The Rio Grande, the Great River, begins high in the mountains of Colorado and journeys all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, carving the border between the United States and Mexico for its entire length through Texas. This river is far more than a line on a map. For thousands of years, it has been a source of life in an arid land, nurturing civilizations along its banks and carving some of the most dramatic landscapes in the state. In Big Bend, it has cut canyons with sheer walls towering hundreds of meters overhead. Along its course, it sustains lush green ribbons of life, cottonwood trees, cattails, and wildlife that snake through the surrounding desert. The river is home to creatures found nowhere else, and its waters draw an incredible diversity of birds, fish, and mammals to drink along its banks. But the Rio Grande is also a river under pressure. Its waters drawn off for farms and cities until, in places, it runs dangerously low. It remains the lifeblood of the borderlands, a ribbon of water that has shaped the history, culture, and very identity of Texas itself. No animal is more deeply woven into the identity of Texas than the legendary Texas Longhorn. With its massive, sweeping horns, which can span more than 2.5 meters from tip to tip, the Longhorn is the living symbol of the state's frontier history. These remarkable cattle are descended from animals first brought to the Americas by Spanish explorers more than 400 years ago. Left to roam wild across the Texas range for generations, they evolved into a uniquely tough and resilient breed. Able to survive brutal heat, drought, and predators where ordinary cattle would perish. After the Civil War, millions of these wild longhorns roamed free across Texas, and the great cattle drives were born. Cowboys herded enormous numbers of longhorns hundreds of kilometers north to the railheads, and in doing so, created the entire mythology of the American cowboy. The trails, the roundups, the campfires under endless skies. By the early 1900s, the breed had nearly vanished. But dedicated ranchers and the state itself worked to save it from extinction. Today, the Texas Longhorn endures as a beloved icon, gracing ranches across the state and serving as the proud mascot of Texas itself. A living, breathing piece of history with horns that touch the legend of the Old West. In the hill country, near the town of Wimberley, lies one of the most beautiful and dangerous natural wonders in Texas. Jacob's Well is a perpetual artesian spring, a perfectly circular opening in the bed of a creek where crystal clear water has flowed upward from deep within the earth for thousands of years. On the surface, it appears as an inviting pool of cool, clear water. A beloved swimming hole where people leap from the rocks into its refreshing depths during the hot summer months. But beneath that tranquil surface, Jacob's Well descends into a vast and treacherous underwater cave system. The spring drops vertically before branching into a maze of narrow, flooded passages that extend more than 30 meters deep and wind through the limestone for over 1,000 meters. These submerged tunnels are among the most dangerous diving sites in the world, and several experienced divers have lost their lives attempting to explore their depths. The water that flows from Jacob's Well feeds Cypress Creek and the surrounding ecosystem. But it has grown more precious as the region's population booms and the underground aquifer is drawn down. Jacob's Well is a place of stunning beauty, hiding genuine danger. A window into the hidden waters that flow beneath the Texas hills. In the heart of Austin rises a building that perfectly embodies the famous Texas philosophy that everything is bigger in the Lone Star State. The Texas State Capitol is the largest state capitol building in the entire United States, and it was deliberately built taller than the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. A bold statement of Texas pride and independence. Completed in 1888, the magnificent structure is built from a distinctive Texas pink granite, quarried from nearby Granite Mountain and hauled to the site, giving the building its unique rosy glow that deepens beautifully at sunset. Its towering dome rises nearly 93 meters into the sky, crowned by a statue of the Goddess of Liberty. The building was so costly to construct that the state, short on cash, paid for it not with money but with land, granting the builders more than 1.2 million hectares of West Texas ranch land in exchange, a tract that became one of the largest ranches in the world. The grounds are dotted with monuments to Texas history, and the interior is a masterpiece of craftsmanship with grand halls and a rotunda where the names of Texas heroes echo. It stands as a proud monument to a state that has always seen itself as something more than ordinary. At the far western point of Texas, where the state meets both New Mexico and Mexico, lies a city unlike any other in the state. El Paso sits in the shadow of the Franklin Mountains, separated from its sister city of Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, only by the thin ribbon of the Rio Grande. Together, the two cities form one of the largest international border communities on the planet. a single sprawling metropolis spread across two nations where the cultures of the United States and Mexico blend into one. El Paso is so far west that it lies in a different time zone from the rest of Texas and is closer to the cities of California than to Houston. The city is steeped in deep history. It was a crucial pass through the mountains used by indigenous peoples, Spanish conquistadors, and pioneers for centuries, giving it its name, the Pass. Running through the heart of the city is the Franklin Mountains State Park, the largest urban park in the entire United States, contained within a single city's limits. From the mountain summit, one can gaze across two countries at once, watching the sunset over a desert metropolis where two nations and two cultures have become inseparably intertwined. Each spring, across the hill country and the Central Plains, Texas performs one of nature's most spectacular displays. For a few precious weeks, millions upon millions of bluebonnets burst into bloom, transforming entire hillsides, fields, and roadsides into rolling oceans of deep blue and violet. The bluebonnet is the official state flower of Texas, and the people of the state cherish it with an almost religious devotion. The flower earned its name from the shape of its petals, which resemble the sunbonnets once worn by pioneer women to shield themselves from the sun. The story of the bluebonnet is also a story of dedication. For decades, the Texas Highway Department has deliberately sown bluebonnet seeds along the state's roadways, ensuring that each spring brings a fresh explosion of color for travelers to enjoy. The annual bloom has become a beloved tradition, drawing families out to the countryside to picnic among the flowers and to take photographs in the seas of blue. The timing and intensity of the bloom changes every year, dependent on the autumn rains and the warmth of the spring, making each season a unique gift. The bluebonnet fields are the gentle, beautiful heart of Texas in springtime. A fleeting, glorious reminder of the wild beauty of the land. Texas is not merely a state, it is an empire of its own. A land so vast and so varied that it holds deserts and swamps, mountains and beaches, ghost towns and gleaming cities, ancient missions and rockets bound for Mars. We have traveled together through 35 of its most extraordinary places. We have stood where heroes fell at the Alamo, walked through canyons painted by 240 million years of time, watched 1.5 million bats darken the evening sky. And gazed at the launch pad where humanity reaches for another world. Texas teaches us something powerful. That a frontier is not a place, but a spirit. From the cattle trails of the Old West to the edge of outer space, this land has always looked toward the horizon and refused to stop there. If this journey moved you, subscribe for more explorations of our extraordinary world. And tell us in the comments which place called to you most. Until next time, travel with wonder and travel with respect. This is Texas, an empire of its own. Endaan Teruzu Wisa.